bought it for $140,000, and literally 12 months down the track, I sold it for 100. So that was my introduction to property. I was earning $38,000 a year. That's gross at the time.
Oh,
I lost
wow.
in excess of $40,000 plus stamp duties. Plus, it was negative gear. So it was triple the trouble that I got myself into. And I see it today as not, at the time, it was rock bottom. Yes, I totally agree. But I see it today as my mentoring program.
Yes.
Well, I spent $40,000 in excess to never make that mistake again. But really what drove me is I looked at my dad in his mid-40s, late 40s, and I said, you know what, this guy has worked damn hard in his life, and he's probably going to work very hard, like most of our fathers. He's probably going to be on a pension, and that scared me. So the fear of failure is what spurred me into property. I thought, what did I do wrong? And the one thing I did wrong was not do my due diligence. Understand what I'm buying, how I'm buying, what does it mean to have vacancy rates, what does it mean to have owner occupancy rates, infrastructure, what does that mean? I didn't know any of that at the time. So I then started on my journey to self-teach myself.
Yeah.
Very good question. I then looked at what I did wrong initially. I lost $40,000 and I could have ran away from property. It would have been easier for me to walk away. I said, no, this is not going to get me down. So first things first, I then built a business plan, which is what most investors don't do. They just go and buy property for the sake of buying it. So when you ask an investor, why did you buy $600,000 or $500,000 or $400,000 property, they really can't tell you why, other than they think it's going to grow. Well, now, at that time, I bought in the first one in Sydney. I was living in it, so I was not getting an income. The second one, I was renting it, and it was negative $7,000 or $8,000 a year. I then went and bought one in Melbourne, and then all of a sudden, I've got 3 negative gear properties. Now, you can imagine that a guy that's earning $38,000 at the time, when you've got -7 here, -10 here, and -15, thank God I've got a wife that's earning 100. Right? So I was still at the beck and call of what? The banks. And what I did at the time is I used the Bank of Melbourne, which is known today, which is St. George Banking, for those who are listening from New South Wales, and they had cross-collateralized my whole portfolio. So what do you think was going to happen if I couldn't pay those mortgages?
They all go.
Absolutely. So that stems with coaching, right? That stems with having the right people around you. People telling you can't do things, you start believing it after a while. And when people start telling you can do things and you're in that environment of leaders. I mean, Richard Branson's a perfect example. How many people told him he was going to fail in Virgin Australia? Yeah, look at him. You're going to fail. Qantas is going to crush you. You're gone. But what did he do? He got people that were better than him around him. He doesn't really know much about aviation other than running a business. He's a great marketeer, but yet he had a vision and he built that vision, and now it's become a world brand. We're investing. Now, I'm 32 years of age at this stage, and I'm thinking, I've got 4 properties. I'm flying. Why are the banks telling me I can't move? Now, I felt a bit dejected, and I thought, well, what do I do now? I was now trying to build. I've learned the art of due diligence. I understood what it meant to do the research. I knew these properties are going to go over the next 10 years. They're going to fly through the market. I knew, but I couldn't service them. So I then was looking to build an accountant, financial planner, a development group who can find me these type of deals and have the right team around. That's what I learned going to these seminars. It's usually when you start looking for something, you tend to find it. And
Absolutely.
at the time, I met a gentleman by the name of Chris. He was an accountant who was referred to me from a friend. And unbeknown to me at the time, Chris had 18 properties in his portfolio, and he was the same age as me. Now, that's impressive. And he said, listen, Buffett, you need cash flow. That was his exact words. So I said, well, where do you get cash flow in the Sydney market? Now, again, one of the mistakes investors do is they concentrate on the market they live in. Now, you know, most people can't tell you what the disposable income in their local suburb is, or their vacancy rates and what have you, but they buy a property in that area. And that is, you've got to learn how to actually structure yourself correctly, to understand the market. Now, we look at Sydney right now, and everybody's talking about this massive bubble. Yep. We look at Melbourne and everybody's saying an oversupply of apartments. We're looking at Brisbane and saying, well, that's on the way up. But you know what? Even in the Sydney market, even in the Melbourne market, even in the Brisbane market, irrespective of where the market's going, what I have learned in that period is that there are opportunities within those markets, even if the market's going the other way.
100%.
There are, but if you can't service it, then becomes a problem, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
I teach them the one rule. What happens if that D-Day comes? Because you will build a portfolio. I've been caught. I've seen that D-Day. It's 40 grand to me at the time when I was earning 38.
Yeah.
So when you get caught and that market corrects, because we can't, look, most experts can't pick the market. Let's be honest. They all claim that the market's going to go this way, that way, or in between. I'm about generating income for myself. Now, whether the market goes up, sideways, or backwards, it has no bearing because my portfolio is what? Cash flow. Think of it not just as a portfolio, but as a business. And yes, you need negative gearing, which I've got in my portfolio. You need equity builds. How do we do that? And I'll touch base on how I've generated some equity builds. You need cash flow to be able to service that negative gearing. It's not one size fits all.
No.
Everyone's in a very different situation. I'm in a different situation to you. You're in a different situation to me. So therefore, my goals and aspirations are different to yours. And a lot of people don't even know this, but when I sit with two husband and wife, the wife's aspirations are totally different to the husband's sometimes. So there's a solution for everything. It's about having the right sort of mindset to be able to give that advice to the person, to be able to do it. Now, he's saying to me, so I talk about the 5 pillars of income. And the 5 pillars of income that we've all had, or some of us have, is the number 1 pillar of income is our jobs. Yeah? A JOB, which is just over broke. That's what it stands in mind.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so you get your job. Now, what your next income is, you're going to buy an investment property in Sydney, Melbourne, or Brisbane, and that's going to be negative gear because that's what they've taught us. So we know in time, if you bought well in that cities, you're doing okay because they're going to go up in price. But it comes at a cost. They're negative gear. Now, you've got that next level of investor who goes, great, Spiro, I'm actually going to go and get a cash flow positive property to offset that negative gear. So there's your 3rd pillar of income, your cash flow. You've got your negative gear that's going to give you growth, your cash flow that's going to give you the cash flow to service that growth, and you've got your job. But that's where most investors stop. What I teach them is to go to that next level, which is what? Absolutely. I mean, look, we humans put limitations on ourselves. So I heard a saying this morning on the way here from SEN Radio. An ex-AFL's champion was saying, put your goals up there and don't limit your body to get to those goals. And I'm thinking, really well said, because if you aim for the stars, you may not get there, but at least you're aiming for them, right? Now, the biggest dilemma for most Australians is, how do I get to the stars? Well, if you've got money, you get a rocket and you get there. But most people don't have a rocket. So they need to start thinking creatively. And that's what I did early in my piece, is becoming creative. How do I? And this is what we teach on the 2-hour event. We are going to locate areas that we think are going to have exponential growth. And how do we do that? Well, I'm very fortunate because over that 10-year period, I've accumulated an acquisition side, a team around me who purely get the Residex reports, get the RP data, get the Bureau statistics, get the PDF slide, get all these other reports that most people will pay thousands and thousands of dollars. And then what we do is then we translate that information. So what does that mean to us as investors? Okay. And I think it's important. It's like a coach. You look at an Olympian, they don't win the gold medal on their own. They've got coaches, right? And the one thing I've learned is you need someone who's better than you to be able to guide you to build those 5 pillars of income, to work on your exit strategies, to work on your long-term, short-term goals, and then move forward. Because I think every part of that is part of us as an individual growing. And now, by making a difference to you, you can then teach other people how to make a difference to them. Pass it on.
Absolutely.
That's my belief. I mean, the one thing I learned very early in the piece, the first few homes I bought under my name, big mistake. I've got a theory right now. Let's just talk about my portfolio. I control everything but own nothing.
Yes.
Make sense?
Yes,
Why is that?
absolutely.
Why do you control everything and own nothing? Well, you're not going to find an asset that's under my name. It's under a trust, or it's under a family trust, or under a business, or whatever. And the reason for that is for tax purposes, one, and litigation, two. We are becoming a very litigated society. I think Australia is ranked number 3 in the world after the States, right? And that's what I teach people. Why are you buying? Ask yourself that question. What is your exit strategy? You lose your JOB, what happens? Do guys like me come in and buy it for 100 grand less than what you paid for it? That's not fair.
No.
Don't let those guys come. So we teach them the exit strategy. It's not about getting in. That's the easy bit. You and I can get in. My kids can get in. It's how you come on the other end. So understanding that process is hard for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think different than the guy next to you, because that's going to be the difference between you or her next to you, whether you're going to achieve. Because realistically, less than 10% of investors do succeed in this market, and that's because the 90% of them just dabble in the market, and the 10% take it seriously.